Geometry, Chapter 1, Section 3. What's a widget and defining angles. Now, the book goes in through some stuff about widgets. We're actually going to be skipping the widget material and focusing on defining angles. So the first idea is the right angle. An angle whose measure is 90 degrees. Now, you can indicate that by just stating, hey, 90 degrees is the angle measure. Or you have this box. The box also indicates 90 degrees. Now, this angle here, the first thought would be that, hey, that looks like it's 90 degrees, thus it must be 90. Well, it may not be 90. Maybe that is 89.1 degrees, or maybe it's 90.3 degrees. We don't know it's 90 degrees. Just because it looks like 90 degrees doesn't mean it is. It needs to have the box, or it needs to actually say, hey, it's 90 degrees for us to know it's 90 degrees. So I can't assume without any indication that this angle is 90 degrees. Acute angles, an angle whose measure is less than 90 degrees. So you can see here 64 degrees, 89.9 degrees. And you can look at that. It looks like it's 90, but it's not. It's 89.9 because the angle measure is given. Obtuse angles, an angle whose measure is more than 90 degrees. So 125 degrees, 90.9 degrees. Complementary angles. Two angles whose angle measure sum is 90 degrees. So you can see here, these two angles add up to 90. These two angles add up to 90. And then here you've got the box that indicates 90 degrees, thus these are complementary. Now notice, these two angles, 47 and 47 added together, don't make 90 degrees, so those two are not complementary. Supplementary angles, two angles whose angle measure sum is 180 degrees, and there's a mistake. These should be 67 degrees. So here we go. These two add up to 180. 67 plus 113 equals 180. These two angles here add up to 180. And we know a linear, this is a line, thus these two angles add up to 180. So they are also supplementary. Now we have these two angles, 67, 67. Those don't add up to 180, so they're not supplementary. Vertical angles. Two angles created by two lines intersecting each other. The angles across from each other are the vertical angles, and they are congruent. So these two angles are vertical angles, and they're congruent. These two angles are vertical angles and congruent. Now notice I used a different number of tick marks to indicate which angle is congruent to each other. So these two are across from each other, congruent. These two are across from each other. They are congruent. A linear pair, there are two adjacent angles that create a line. Remember, adjacent means they share a side in common. So those two angles create a line, linear pair. They're supplementary as well. Remember, they add up to 180. So here, these two angles create a line. They are a linear pair, supplementary, add up to 180. So let's look at a little bit of algebra review here. So instead of a diagram, what we've got here is now that we're given in a Word format. And so it can be helpful to read through it and draw a diagram. So let's read through this. Angle ABC and angle DBC are complementary. Remember, complementary means they add up to 90. And the measure of angle ABC is 3 times the size of DBC. So ABC is 3 times the size of DBC. So if DBC was x, ABC would be 3x. So ABC is larger. So let me draw this out. So ABC is larger. DBC is a smaller angle. So they add up to 90 degrees because they're complementary. So 3x plus x equals 90. 3x plus x is 4x. Divide by 4. X is 22.5. Now I'm not done because it asks what is the measure of each angle. So I have to actually plug it in here. Well, that one's just x, so it's 22.5. This one, 3 times 22.5. So we've got this one 67.5. So the measure of angle ABC is 67.5. The measure of angle DBC is 22.5. Here, next problem, same idea. Given ABC and DBC are supplementary, remember supplementary means they add up to 180. DBC is more than twice the size of ABC. So I'm going to say ABC is X. So DBC is 6 more than twice the size. So twice is 2x. 6 more than that is plus 6. So here's my diagram. This one's x. This one's 2x plus 6. So DBC is the larger one this time. ABC is the smaller one. So we've got 2x plus 6 plus x equals 180. So 2x plus x is 3x plus 6 equals 180. Subtract 6. 3x equals 174. Divided by 3. X is 58. Again, I'm not done. It says, what is the measure of each angle? So I'm going to plug this in. Well, this one's easy. It's just 58. Plug it into the other one. So 2 times 58 plus 6. And we've got that this angle is 112. Okay, so we've got the measure of angle DBC is 112. The measure of angle ABC is 58. And that's the end of the lesson.